things can change in a day. And that's how you lose everything in a day. That line, wow, this hits you, doesn't it? Right from the start, it pulls you into this intense emotional world we're exploring today. We're talking about a story where one single devastating day completely reshapes a family, tears them apart, really. Leaves these scars that, well, they run deep, generations deep. If you're someone who really appreciates how literature can hold up a mirror to society, then this book is something else. It masterfully weaves the personal, the intimate, with these huge societal forces. This is the deep dive, your shortcut to really getting under the skin of complex topics. Today, we're diving into a book that's, frankly, unforgettable. It's Arundhati Roy's Booker Prize-winning novel from 1997, The God of Small Things. Our mission today, it's not just about summarizing the plot. We want to unpack how these seemingly tiny moments, these small things, can actually build up to create immense tragedy. How love itself can be this place of refuge, but also sometimes a dangerous weapon. And how one family's very specific story can reflect an entire nation's unspoken history, its hidden wounds. So we're going to try and piece together this really intricate mosaic: memories, politics, pain, forbidden love, and see how those small moments have this profound, often devastating impact, not just on the family, but, on society too.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how Roy does that? She takes this single tragic event, a child's death, which is heartbreaking in itself, and uses it like a lens, a really precise lens, actually. But through it, she explores these huge, sweeping societal themes. We'll be looking at how those small things you mentioned, maybe just a touch or a whispered lie, a look, or even an act of kindness that seems totally innocent. How these things suddenly gain this seismic force, they change lives forever. And in doing that, they expose these really deep, unhealed wounds. Wounds of history, tradition, prejudice, things lurking right beneath the surface of that society. It's masterful how the intimate becomes epic.
Okay, so let's start by actually stepping into that world, the setting. It's so crucial here, isn't it? The story unfolds in Yemen. It's a village in Kerala down in southern India, lush, green, beautiful, really. But this place, it's not just a backdrop, is it?
No, not at all. It's practically a character in its own right. It feels alive. Its fate is completely tangled up with the characters' fates, with the whole drama.
Yeah, you can almost feel it breathing.
Yeah.
Imagine this place where there's incredible natural beauty, steamy rivers, thick humid air, all that tropical growth, but coexisting and often clashing right alongside these incredibly rigid social unspoken rules, mostly.
Exactly. The atmosphere isn't just humid, it's thick with centuries of tradition, these expectations. It creates this constant tension. You feel it simmering. It's the tension between the vibrant life you see in the landscape and the oppressive weight of what society demands.
The landscape itself seems to reflect their struggles, doesn't it? Their internal battles and the external pressures closing in.
Absolutely. And the past. It's not history tucked away in books there. It feels tangible, like an active force shaping everything in the present, dictating the future, really, for everyone born there.
So grounding this story so specifically in Yemen, in Kerala, that's key to how she explores those bigger themes.
Definitely. It lets really explore these universal human experiences: love, loss, injustice, but within this very specific, very authentic cultural context. Yemen becomes this microcosm, a small stage reflecting a much larger society that's grappling with its colonial past, its deep traditions, especially the caste system, which is just brutal, and this relentless march of change that feels both inevitable and violent.
So the village isn't just a place, it's like a crucible, where personal desires, quiet acts of rebellion, heartbreak, it all becomes political. Intensely political.
Precisely. It witnesses everything: profound love, unspeakable cruelty. It makes the personal struggles resonate with this huge weight of history and social forces. The air itself feels heavy with beauty and betrayal. It's this complex dance between what people long for privately and what society condemns publicly.
And right at the heart of this world, we have the twins, Rahel and Estha.
Yeah.
Their bond as children. It's extraordinary, almost telepathic, isn't it? They just know each other wordlessly. It creates this little private universe just for them.
It's a profound connection, like two halves of one whole. And that deep sense of unity makes what happens later, their separation, the years apart, the suffering they each endure alone, it makes it even more poignant.
Yeah, because you see how inseparable they were. So when their world shatters, it's just devastating to witness. Their childhood starts with this innocent exploration protected by their twinship, but it becomes this stark contrast to the trauma they carry as adults.
And that contrast is amplified by the way Roy tells the story, the structure she uses. It's not straightforward at all.
Right, the nonlinear thing. It jumps around constantly.
Exactly. Back and forth in time, seamlessly moving between their childhood and, 1969?
Yeah.
And then their adult years, decades later, when they reunite. And that reunion is so quiet, so fragmented.
It's not just a gimmick, though, is it, that jumping around?
Oh, absolutely not. It's deliberate. It mimics how memory actually works, doesn't it? Fragmented, sometimes vivid, sometimes hazy, elusive. It really shows how trauma isn't just one event you remember. It's something you revisit, re-experience. You reinterpret it over time, finding new pain, new understanding years later.
And she hints at things early on, right? These little clues, unsettling images.
Foreshadowing, yeah. Creates this sense of dread that just hangs there, but you don't grasp the full devastating meaning until much, much later. So you, as the reader, you're forced to piece it all together, like assembling this shattered mosaic alongside the characters. It makes the past feel constantly present, constantly impacting their thoughts, their actions. It never really lets go.
And into this fragmented reality.
Yeah.
This one event lands. A small thing that changes everything. You're talking about Sophie Moll's death, right?
Yes. Sophie Moll, their young cousin.
How does that one event, this seemingly accidental drowning of a little girl visiting from England, how does it become the engine for so much commentary? How does it unravel the whole family?
Well, it acts as this powerful catalyst. It sets the stage for exploring those deeper societal wounds, the rules you just can't break, the love laws, as Roy calls them, the forbidden love.
So it's not just a tragedy in itself.
No, it's like the spark that ignites a powder keg. All those tensions, the prejudices, the strict rules that were always simmering just beneath the surface of Ivanhoe society, they just explode.
It's the moment the small thing becomes the big thing.
Absolutely. The thing that changes everything. Irrevocably.
Okay, let's talk about the people caught up in this. The characters. They're unforgettable, aren't they? Each one feels so complex, reflecting those themes Roy explores.
They really do, and their stories aren't separate threads. They weave together into this incredibly detailed tapestry. You see societal constraints, forbidden desires, the weight of the past, all playing out in their lives. Every character, even minor ones, illuminate something crucial.
So back to the twins, Rahel and Estha. They're the emotional center, wouldn't you say?
Definitely the anchors. Their bond as kids is extraordinary, almost otherworldly. But Sophie Moll's death and everything that follows, it shatters that connection. Estha, particularly, he just stops speaking, literally becomes silent. It's this profound physical manifestation of his trauma. Maybe self-preservation, or maybe guilt. It's complex.
A retreat into himself. While Rahel, she seems more disconnected.
Dislocated.
Yeah, she experiences this deep emotional dislocation, becomes a wanderer, always sort of searching for that connection that was severed so brutally. It makes you think, doesn't it, how trauma hits people so differently.
Silence is one, disconnects the other.
Exactly. What does that tell us about memory, about survival? Their adult reunion is heartbreaking because it's so quiet. It's an understanding born of shared trauma, not words, a testament to a bond that somehow survived even that devastation.
Their mother, Amu, such a tragic figure, and so defiant, too.
Absolutely. Being divorced back then in that society, it was a huge scandal. She lives this life feeling trapped, unhappy, full of unfulfilled desires, constantly pushing against the expectations placed on her as a woman, desperate for freedom, for love, in a world that seems determined to deny her both.
And then her relationship with Velutha.
The forbidden love, with a man from the untouchable caste. It's central, isn't it? So explosive.
It's one of the most heartbreaking storylines. It dares to cross the biggest boundary of all in that society. Her whole struggle for autonomy, for happiness. It's this fierce, desperate battle against an unforgiving system. You feel her defiance.
Yet ultimately, she's trapped.
Utterly trapped.
Wow.
By a society that's merciless if a woman dares to desire, dares to love outside the lines, dares to challenge the order. If you zoom out, her story is this powerful critique of the incredibly restrictive roles forced on women then. It shows the devastating consequences for anyone who steps outside those boundaries, even if the boundaries themselves are inhumane.
Her courage is palpable, but so is her vulnerability. It makes her fate feel like such an indictment of those social structures.
Roy uses Amu to show how suffocating patriarchy is, how it uses social stigma to control women's lives, their choices, their very being.
And Velutha. It's important to understand what delete or untouchable meant, isn't it? Centuries of systemic dehumanization, considered impure just by birth.
Absolutely critical context. And yet, paradoxically, Roy portrays Velutha as arguably the kindest, most talented, most deeply human character in the book.
He's a skilled carpenter, intelligent, compassionate.
Yes, but his simple acts of love for Amu, his kindness to the kids, those are seen as huge transgressions because he's Dalit. They defy India's rigid, unforgiving caste laws.
So his inherent goodness becomes this challenge to that injustice.
Exactly. His very existence, his humanity, is a quiet rebellion against a system built on denying it.
And his fate.
Yeah.
It's the most brutal commentary on that system.
It's Roy's most piercing indictment, I think. It forces you to confront how kindness' inherent worth can be completely nullified by these arbitrary lines society draws. It's a stark reminder that in some places, your talent, your character, your humanity, it means nothing compared to the accident of your birth.
And that prejudice leads to such unspeakable cruelty.
It raises that awful question. How can these arbitrary constructs dictate life and death, dictate who deserves love, dignity, even survival? It defies all reason. Velutha's story shows that sometimes just being yourself is enough to be punished within that rigid framework.
Then there's baby Kochama, the ant. Manipulative, bitter.
Oh, deeply bitter. Her bitterness just seeps into everything. She embodies the hypocrisy of that status-obsessed, church-going upper class. A master of quiet manipulation, obsessed with appearances, with upholding social order, no matter the human cost.
She cloaks her prejudice in respectability, even piety.
She's crucial for understanding the critique of institutions in the novel, those institutions that claim moral authority but become tools of prejudice. She personifies how social bias, resentment, this desperate need for status, how it leads to malicious actions. It exposes the ugly underside of respectable society.
Her actions, fueled by her own disappointments and envy, and they really fuel the collective tragedy, don't they?
Absolutely. It's chilling how individual bitterness, amplified by social norms, can lead to such cruelty towards anyone she sees as inferior or threatening to her world. Her commitment to the rules makes her the antagonist, showing how blind adherence to tradition destroys lives.
And finally, Sophie Mole, the little English cousin. She arrives, seems like this breath of fresh air.
A burst of foreign excitement in that stifling house.
But her presence, and then her death, it becomes the centerpiece that triggers the whole unraveling, the chain reaction.
She's the innocent catalyst, the spark in the powder keg we talked about, igniting all those existing tensions, prejudices, pressures that were just waiting. Her short life and tragic end set off so much of the pain that follows, like a small stone dropped in a pond, creating ripples of devastation.
Let's shift focus a bit to how Roy tells this story. The storytelling itself. It's brilliant, but definitely not conventional. Like we said, it doesn't follow a straight line. It feels more like music. Motifs repeating, themes weaving together.
That's a great way to put it. The narrative skips, circles back, just like remembering. It demands a different kind of attention from you, the reader. You almost have to become a detective, piecing things together.
And that structure, mimicking memory, that's key to its power.
Absolutely. It's fragmented, vivid, repetitive, especially with trauma. You get these glimpses early on, a phrase, an image, but the full weight, the implications, only become clear much later as Roy reveals more layers.
So it pulls you into their experience of trauma.
Completely. You feel the disorientation, the haunting quality of their past. It's immersive, makes you empathize on a much deeper level than a straightforward narrative might allow. The past isn't just told, you feel like you're re-experiencing it with them.
And beyond the structure, the language itself, I mean, it's stunning. Almost a character in its own right.
Oh, definitely. It captures the sensory richness of I. Eminem, but also the underlying sorrow.
It's lyrical, poetic, sometimes playful, then suddenly haunting, all at once. And she breaks grammar rules deliberately, right? Uses capitalization for emphasis, like love laws.
Yes, that capitalization immediately signals their power, their restrictiveness. It's audacious, that experimental style, but incredibly effective.
There's that line, the God of small things, he left no footprints.
No ripples in the water, no image in the mirror. Such a powerful line. It's not just beautiful writing, it's deliberate. It conveys the elusive nature of memory, the quiet devastation, the unseen impact of those small things.
It can be challenging for some readers, though. That style.
It can be, yes. It asks you to engage differently. But it's essential to the novel's unique voice, its emotional resonance. It's how the book manages to, as you said, whisper and scream at the same time. You feel the tenderness and the crushing weight. It's how language itself becomes a tool for revealing and concealing.
So ultimately, this unconventional style, it makes you feel their reality.
Exactly. You don't just read the story, you inhabit their fragmented world. It enhances the emotional impact, makes it unforgettable. It shows how form can be just as powerful as content in conveying meaning.
Okay, so beyond the characters, the style. Let's talk themes. The God of Small Things is packed with powerful social commentary.
Absolutely. It uses I am as this microcosm, but the themes resonate far beyond it. Universal struggles with prejudice, power, the human heart.
Where do we even start? There's so many layers.
Well, let's start with caste and social oppression. We talked about Velutha. His story is the most direct, most painful critique of the Indian caste system. Here's this man, loving, kind, skilled, moral out, but because he's Dalit, his fate is sealed, brutally sealed. It forces you to ask, how can these inherited hierarchies dehumanize people so completely? How can they perpetuate such injustice, even against obvious goodness and love?
It shows how arbitrary social lines can literally be deadly, more powerful than individual worth.
Precisely. Then there's forbidden love. It's not just Amu and Velutha, though their story is central, shattering taboos. The book explores who is allowed to love and how. Even the intense bond between young Rahel and Estha, while not romantic, brushes against boundaries, hints at the danger when any societal love laws are broken.
So love is both healing and destructive.
In that repressive environment, yes, it offers solace, connection, but when it's forbidden, it becomes dangerous, leading to ruin. Roy shows how society's need to control connection ultimately twists it, tragically.
In trauma and memory. We touched on this with the structure.
Yes, but it's deeper than just structure. Roy shows how trauma lives in the body, in Estha's silence, for instance. It lives in the language, the fragmented sentences, the repetitions. It explores how the past is never really past. It's alive, haunting the present, shaping everything, affecting their ability to connect, to move forward, find peace. They're living with ghosts. Remembering itself can be agony.
The loss of innocence is just heartbreaking, too.
Deeply heartbreaking. Rahel and Estha see things, experience things no child should. Adult cruelty, hypocrisy, the consequences of forbidden acts when they should be protected. The book is really a searing account of childhood destroyed. Destroyed by adults, by a society that fails its most vulnerable. It's an indictment of a world that makes children carry adult burdens.
And finally, political and religious hypocrisy. You see that clearly with Baby Kochama.
And the depiction of the church, too. Roy critiques how these institutions, supposedly upholding morals and order, can actually become instruments of prejudice and oppression. What's fascinating is how seemingly pious people can be complicit in, or even drive, profound cruelty when their own status or biases are threatened. It exposes the dark side of power and dogma, shows how evil can wear a righteous mask.
It really makes you think. When these big things, politics, caste, rigid rules are crushing people's lives, how do the small things endure?
Right. Those acts of love, kindness, shared secrets, memories. How do they survive? Or how do they sometimes become the very sparks that ignite the devastation? It challenges our idea of what truly holds power. Maybe it's those quiet, unseen forces, after all.
And Roy uses symbolism so effectively to explore all this, doesn't she? It adds so many layers.
She does. The symbols aren't just window dressing. They're integral to the meaning. They provide this language beneath the surface.
Like the river, it keeps appearing.
Yes, and it holds such potent, contrasting meanings. On one hand, it's freedom, joy, connection for Velutha and the twins. A temporary escape from society's rules, represents innocence, nature, but it's also where Sophie Mull drowns. So it embodies life and death, beauty and danger. It mirrors the unpredictable nature of fate, the potential for both liberation and catastrophe, just like Imanim itself.
And the history house. That decaying old building.
A powerful metaphor. It represents the ghost of colonial history, the weight of family secrets, the past literally haunting the present. It suggests history isn't dead, it's actively shaping the living. Its crumbling walls kind of echo the family's breakdown, society's decay, a constant reminder of what's lost and what still binds them.
And the title itself, Small Things versus Big Things, that's central contrast.
Absolutely central. The big things, politics, caste, social rules, they have the power to destroy lives openly, brutally. They impose order, often cruelly. But the small things, a touch, a kindness, a secret, a memory, they hold immense significance too. They define relationships, offer comfort, but they can also, tragically, trigger the catastrophe.
They're the moments of vulnerability, desire, connection that often defy the big rules.
Exactly. They endure, often unseen, but sometimes they devastate everything. It's a profound statement on how the insignificant can carry monumental weight. how real power might lie in those quiet acts of humanity or their absence.
These symbols really force you to look deeper, don't they? Beyond the plot into the undercurrents. They make the invisible forces feel visible. So we've explored a lot. It's clear this is an incredibly powerful book, but let's be honest, it's not always an easy read, is it?
No, definitely not. Its strengths are immense, though. The emotional impact is profound. It stays with you. The writing is lyrical, poetic. The social commentary is sharp, unflinching. The characters are unforgettable, so complex and real. And the cultural and political layers offer such deep insight. It really changes how you see things.
But potential readers should be prepared for some challenges, right?
Absolutely. That nonlinear structure can be confusing at first, requires some patience.
And the emotional intensity. It can be overwhelming. It deals with really raw pain and injustice.
It does. And Roy's experimental prose, the fragmented grammar, the repetition, while brilliant, it might not be for everyone. It demands a certain kind of reading.
And importantly, it tackles very difficult taboo subjects. Incest, sexual abuse, caste violence.
Yes, those elements are there, and they can be deeply disturbing. They're integral to the story's honesty, but it's important for readers to know that going in. It's not a comfortable read.
But sometimes the most challenging books are the most rewarding.
I think so. Those difficult parts aren't gratuitous. They're essential to the novel's unflinching look at human experience, at societal brokenness. They give the book its power. For me, it's easily a 55. It really does whisper and scream at the same time. Poetic, brutal, political, personal. It doesn't just tell a story, it breaks your heart, then somehow rebuilds it through the significance of those small things. It's not easy, but it's one of the most important, most beautiful books you could ever encounter. A true masterpiece. It genuinely reshapes your understanding.
Well, we hope this deep dive into the God of Small Things has given you a real sense of its intricate layers, its unforgettable characters, its powerful commentary. It's such a stunning example of how literature can show that complex interplay between our personal lives and these huge societal forces, how it reveals the massive impact of things that seem so small.
Yeah, the bigger picture here is that the novel really challenges us, doesn't it? To look beyond the surface, question our assumptions, to think about how prejudice works, how quiet acts of defiance matter. It asks us to see the immense weight carried by those small things that make up our lives, our relationships, our world, to recognize the power in those silent forces.
So, maybe something for you to think about. Reflecting on this in your own life, what small things, maybe a word, a look, a decision, an act of kindness, have ended up shaping your biggest outcomes? Or, conversely, what hidden big things, societal pressures, history, unspoken rules, might have been silently influencing your world all along in ways you hadn't really considered? Lots to ponder there. We hope this deep dive has given you plenty to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep digging deep into the stories that shape our world.